Hello, my name is Janice. I find myself isolated, so I'm here to share my story in hopes of finding some understanding. My husband, Raymond, has become someone I hardly recognize, a person whose presence fills me with dread. I often envy couples who are happy, bonded with their soulmates, living the life I once dreamed I'd have with Raymond. But our reality turned out much different than I had hoped. Our marriage began on a strong foundation. Raymond and I both held steady jobs, and our relationship was full of promise. Yet soon after our wedding, everything changed. Without any prior discussion, Raymond quit his job, explaining that his work was causing him depression and burnout. He assured me it would only be a short break, and he'd start searching for a new job soon. In the meantime, supporting us was left entirely to me. I voiced my frustration at being kept in the dark, but Raymond dismissed my concerns. "It's just temporary," he'd say. However, as months went by, nothing improved. I took on multiple jobs just to keep us afloat, while Raymond spent his days playing video games, contributing nothing to the household. Our financial situation deteriorated further until we were struggling just to pay rent. Eventually, we had to ask for help from Raymond's parents, Ethan and Olivia, who were shocked to discover he was unemployed. They revealed a painful truth. This wasn't the first time Raymond had quit a job and relied on others to support him. In the past, his parents had to coerce him into working by threatening to cut him off financially. They had hoped he'd change after meeting me, but it seemed he had simply reverted to old patterns. Ethan and Olivia expressed doubts about Raymond's claims of depression, suspecting he might be manipulating the situation to avoid responsibility. Hearing this was a blow. I had always known Raymond to be hardworking and reliable, but now I saw another side of him. His parents sternly urged him to get a job and stop burdening me, emphasizing that I deserved a partner who would support me, not exploit me. Raymond promised he'd make an effort, but doubt lingered. Hoping things would change, I kept silent about Raymond's continued unemployment, motivated by my love for him and the desire to avoid adding pressure. But he continued to deceive even his parents about having a job, leaving the financial burden squarely on my shoulders. Despite my efforts, our situation only worsened, and Raymond's resentment grew each month when I struggled to make ends meet. He even forbade me from taking any days off, insisting I work constantly. Exhausted and feeling more isolated as he discouraged me from seeing friends, I pushed myself to the brink. Finally, one day, I couldn't go on. I decided to take a day off work to rest. When Raymond noticed I was home, he angrily demanded to know why I wasn't working. I explained that I needed a break, but he exploded, saying I had no right to take time off. I confronted him about the unfairness of it all, that I was the only one working while he did nothing. Unable to handle the situation, I left the house in tears, desperate for a moment of peace. I wandered through the city, just window shopping with the little money I had left. My savings were almost gone, depleted by the year I'd spent supporting us. Returning home that evening, I was met with an unexpected shock. The door was bolted from the inside. When I knocked, Raymond refused to let me in, accusing me of disrespect and saying I needed to learn a lesson. Stunned, I found myself standing outside in the freezing cold, realizing the depth of the situation I was trapped in. For taking one day off work, I had been locked out of my own home by the man I once loved. Raymond's reaction was harsher than I could have ever anticipated. When I returned home, he locked me out as punishment and ignored all my attempts to communicate. "Knock all you want, Janice," he said coldly. "I'm not letting you in. Consider this a lesson." Then he fell silent, leaving me standing outside, shivering in the cold. At first, I waited, hoping he might calm down and let me in, but as the hours dragged on, the painful reality of his abusive behavior became undeniable. Alone and isolated, with friends too far away and family even further, I was left without shelter as the night grew colder. Eventually, I had no choice but to seek help from the only people I thought might understand: Raymond's parents. Still shaking from the cold, I drove to their house. When Ethan, my father-in-law, opened the door, his face shifted quickly from surprise to concern. Through tears, I explained that Raymond had locked me out because I'd taken a single day off from my jobs to recover from exhaustion. I had only gone window shopping, a brief escape from my relentless routine, because I couldn't afford to spend anything. Ethan's expression turned grim. "Janice, why on earth are you working 3 jobs? Raymond told us he was making enough money for both of you. He even mentioned wanting you to quit and relax." Choking back tears, I revealed the truth. Raymond hadn't worked since quitting his job. Instead, he'd been living off my income, pretending to his parents that he was supporting us both. He hasn't even applied for any jobs, I admitted, and every time I take a day off, he gets furious because it means less money coming in. As I laid bare the extent of Raymond's lies and manipulation, Ethan and Olivia's shock turned to horror. They were appalled to realize how deeply their son had deceived them, using my loyalty and hard work to maintain his facade. Overwhelmed by pain and embarrassment, I broke down completely, unable to hold back my emotions any longer. Olivia gently comforted me as Ethan's anger mounted. Once I collected myself, Ethan looked at me with a determined resolve. "Janice, you are not alone. We're going to help you through this. It's unfathomable how Raymond has turned out like this, but don't worry, we'll figure something out." Feeling a wave of relief, I admitted, "I don't even want to go back to the same house as him anymore. I don't know what to do next." Ethan nodded firmly. "Don't worry about those details for now. Let's go back to the house together. It's time Raymond realizes the consequences of his actions." When we arrived, Olivia chose to stay back, fearing she might lose her temper if she confronted him. Ethan and I knocked on the door, but Raymond refused to open it, ignoring us both as if we were strangers. Through the closed door, Ethan raised his voice, ready to confront his son's actions once and for all. Raymond's voice was icy as he refused to let me in. "You didn't listen to me about taking a break, so now I'm not listening to you, Janice." His callousness was shocking. "Raymond, this is insane. It was just one day, a break I desperately needed. That doesn't justify locking me out for hours," I pleaded. His response was chilling. "You wanted a break? Fine. Spend the night outside. Take all the time you need." At my breaking point, I demanded he open the door, but Ethan stepped in, delivering a stern ultimatum. "Open the door, Raymond, or I'll break it down myself." The threat of his father's anger seemed to rattle him, and after a pause, Raymond finally unlocked the door. His face betrayed nervousness as he tried a casual greeting. "Hey, Dad." "Janice, it was all just a misunderstanding." Ethan cut him off sharply. "Drop the act, Raymond. Explain yourself. Why did you lock Janice out? And don't forget who owns this house." Caught, Raymond stammered. "It's not what it looks like, Dad. We were just joking around, right, Janice?" He looked at me, desperate for me to play along. I couldn't stay silent. "It's exactly what it looks like, Ethan. Raymond locked me out because I took one day off. I've been working nonstop to support us while he's been living off my earnings and doing nothing." Ethan's face darkened with disappointment as he turned to his son. "Raymond, why are you lying? You left your job without even discussing it with Janice. You promised to work on yourself and contribute to the family. What's going on?" Scrambling for an excuse, Raymond insisted, "Dad, I've been looking for jobs. It's just tough right now. I've sent out a lot of applications but haven't heard back yet." I was done covering for him. "Then show us the applications, Raymond," I challenged. "Let's see the proof if you're telling the truth." Raymond's composure cracked, and he grew defensive. "Why do I need to prove anything? Don't you trust me? I don't have to show you anything." But the truth was clear. Raymond hadn't applied for a single job since leaving his last one, and he had no intention of finding another. He expected to live off my earnings indefinitely. "Ethan, he hasn't sent out any applications," I said firmly. "There was even a vacancy at my office and I suggested he apply." He yelled at me for suggesting it, refusing to make any effort. Ethan's frustration with his son was palpable. "Raymond, your mother and I let you stay here in the hope that you'd turn things around. We believed you were working and contributing. Now it's clear Janice has been supporting you alone. You failed to keep your word, and I can't allow this to continue. You're going to have to leave this house." Raymond's face drained of color. "Dad, no. Please don't do this. Janice, look at what you've caused. Now we're both going to lose our home." But Ethan corrected him sharply. "There's no need to yell at her. Janice will stay here if she wants, or she'll stay in the house alone. You are the one who will be leaving." "This isn't fair," Raymond protested, panicking. "Janice and I are a couple. You can't just separate us. You can't split up a married couple." Ethan's gaze was resolute. "Raymond, your behavior has already done that. It's time for you to face the consequences." I go where my wife goes, and that's final. If Janice wants to stay married, she has to take me wherever she goes, Raymond protested, desperate and grasping at control. But I was done. "Actually, Raymond, I won't be staying married to you," I said, my voice steady. This decision had been brewing for a long time, and now, At last, I was ready to voice it. I'll be filing for divorce. Raymond's face fell, the reality of the situation finally sinking in. Years of leaning on others to prop up his lifestyle, shirking responsibility, it had all led to this moment. But rather than accepting it, he tried one last plea. Janice, please, you're not really going to throw away our years together over one mistake, are you? I know I shouldn't have locked you out, but it's too late, Raymond, I replied, exhausted. His actions had consequences, and both his parents and I were united in our resolve. The time had come for him to be accountable, and there was no escaping it now. Look, Janice, it was just one day. We can sort this out, he pleaded, trying to downplay his behavior. Let's talk this through. I'll apply for jobs tomorrow, I swear. We can even start therapy. I shook my head. I know you, Raymond. You won't follow through. You've dismissed every suggestion and shown me nothing but disrespect for the past year. If I give in now, you'll just fall back into the same habits. Turning to his father, Raymond tried to rally support. Dad, please, help me. I'm willing to change, but she won't even give me a chance. Ethan's face was set, resolute. Ray, Janice is making the right decision. You can't keep her here against her will. I don't want her wasting another moment on someone who treats her like this. Then, turning to me, he added, Janice, you're welcome to stay at our place while Raymond moves out. I'll be here while you gather your things. Grateful for the offer, I quickly went upstairs, packed, and returned. Raymond attempted to block my way, but Ethan's stern warning that he'd call the police forced him aside. At Ethan and Olivia's home, Olivia embraced me the moment I walked in. The warmth of her welcome brought tears to my eyes. It had been so long since I felt genuine support. You can stay as long as you need to, Janice, she assured me. In the following days, I made plans carefully. I delayed filing for divorce just a little while longer, hoping that Raymond would find some semblance of self-sufficiency and lessen the chance of needing alimony. I transferred half of our joint account to my own and stopped contributing to it, cutting off the financial support he had come to rely on. Raymond, meanwhile, tried showing up repeatedly at his parents' home, pleading for forgiveness. For once, even Olivia voiced her disappointment openly, criticizing him for his failures. This stand wasn't just about ending our marriage, it was about reclaiming my dignity and setting boundaries Raymond had ignored for far too long. Olivia, with uncharacteristic sternness, chastised Raymond, calling him out for the man he'd become. His tearful apologies were, in a way, a small vindication after the years I'd spent quietly suffering. Over the next month, Raymond was forced to leave his parents' home despite nearly pushing them to call the police to make it happen. He seemed truly baffled that his own family was serious about the eviction. Once he moved out, he began couch surfing, but friends quickly tired of his behavior and excuses. Unable to find stable work due to his reputation and poor work ethic, he eventually secured a low-paying job, just enough to scrape by. As soon as he had settled somewhere, I moved forward with the divorce. It was straightforward. Raymond had no means to hire a lawyer and ultimately resigned himself to it. Thankfully, we had no significant income disparity, so there were no alimony obligations. With that burden lifted, I left one of my jobs, and Ethan and Olivia's generosity allowed me to stay with them as I started rebuilding my savings. Our divorce concluded without drawn-out conflict, partly because neither of us had the resources or the desire to prolong it. Although Raymond apologized repeatedly, I couldn't find it in myself to forgive him. I've since moved into a modest 3-bedroom apartment with a roommate, and I'm beginning to find my footing again. Ethan and Olivia remain a constant source of support, welcoming me into their lives in a way they never had with their own son. For them, too, forgiveness seems out of reach, and it's clear their relationship with Raymond may never recover. This new chapter is one of healing and rediscovery, surrounded by people who truly care for me. For the first time in years, I feel I'm building a life of my own, free from the shadows of the past.